Jesse, I can't believe that it's already been almost a year since like we re-met on Facebook.
I know, isn't it so amazing?
It's so crazy how much has happened since I first saw that post of yours on it was a Portage Park neighborhood
Community news.
Portage Park Community News.
Yes.
So I gotta say, I probably spend way too much time on Facebook, and Melissa is always saying like, "You're still on Facebook again," and I constantly am like, I'm working," and this time I was actually working.
You were.
Lo and behold, who even knew? So tell me about that post.
So my husband has a brother who just recently married a woman that her family owns a coffee plantation. They've owned this plantation for like over 50 years.
Wow.
And so she recently started planting her crops of coffee, and she's like, we're selling great here in Honduras. Wouldn't it be amazing when we went if we could sell coffee there and to bring it to the U.S.? And I said, I think that would be amazing. She's like, how would I do that, Jesse? You do this. Like, tell me what could I do? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm going to reach out to my community because my community is amazing. Anytime I need something, I go on Facebook, I go to one of those community pages, and then I find out what I need. So that's what I did, and that's how we got in contact.
Totally. So you go on Facebook and you put up like, basically like, I've got family in Honduras with a coffee farm, and I'm like, and I recognized your name, but I didn't know where I knew you from. But I'm like, okay, this is someone I know from the community. Like, this seems pretty legitimate. And there were like 100 comments, everything from like, have you thought about, going to the Golden Nugget to, like, what about Starbucks? And it's like, yeah, okay, like, I'll take a pound of roasted coffee if they want to give me a pound. And finally I was like, okay, I got to just throw my hat in the ring. I'm like, hi, I actually like buy green coffee and roast it on the Northwest side. Like, we should talk. This sounds like something, I'd be interested in. And so we started direct messaging after that.
Right. And I loved everybody's enthusiasm.
Yeah,
I thought it was so amazing that everybody wanted to buy like a bag of coffee, but it wasn't what we were looking for precisely. I was looking for like a green buyer, somebody that was like a distributor that could really bring it to the community and tell them what this coffee means to Jonai and Danielle that, are the owners of Café La Finca and how it impacts their life. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. No, I mean, it was really, really great. And, just to have that happen chance meeting that way. And it turned out that Daniel and Donai were already scheduled to come visit.
Right.
And so we kind of moved the conversation forward pretty quickly within a couple months when you brought them here to Perkolator to visit. We got to meet in person.
I think it was great. They got to see your setup here, which is absolutely amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
It's super cool what you're doing for the community. They saw what you did for previous countries and like the coffee and like your whole marketing campaign, and they're like, this is what we want to do. So Jesse, figure out, let's make it happen. I know you're somebody that's going to make it happen, so make it happen. I'm like, okay, well, bring me in. I'd love to work with you with global trade client relations, and we're going to get this coffee to Joe and to Melissa. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, your help as being that kind of middle person in helping, with a bit of a language barrier, because I'm ashamed to say after 25 years of living in Chicago, my Spanish is still no bueno, but their English is way better than my Spanish. And so, but, not just like the translations, but just, helping us to both kind of understand where the other ones were coming from at points where it was like there might have been some confusion or whatever. And just, like I remember thinking, or I remember seeing for the first time, the first proposal that they sent said something about a container of coffee. And I was like, oh no, what did I do? Like, a container of coffee is, 20,000 pounds of coffee, right? Like, what did I just agree to, and I got in touch with you and you got in touch with them, and they were like, no, we can, like, we have a container, but you don't have to buy the container,
you don't have to fill it up. You don't have to fill it up.
They're like 1 or 2 pallets is fine. I was like, okay. I'm like, I want to buy a container one day, but not today. So we got through this whole year of planning, and then all of a sudden I get the email and you get the call that like, coffee's ready. It's in the bags. It's ready to go.
Yeah.
If you're still serious, let's get this going. And So do you remember that
I
day?
remember it because I'm like all the messages from WhatsApp to Messenger to emails to phone calls, but I'm like, we need to make it happen. And it was a process. We're learning while we're coming into the American market, and we're working with you all. But I think it was a good process to know what works and what doesn't work, and what's needed and what's not needed.
And there were some hiccups along the way, but it was really great because of this personal connection that there was never this feeling like that anyone was trying to get up on the other one. Like we had the tariff scare, we had the nobody really knew anything about customs. Daniel works in exporting, so he has such a better understanding of these things than I do. But I've always dealt with with coffee importers that are doing all that stuff for me. And so it really was a growing process, right down to when I had to wire transfer, more money than I've ever, send to, halfway across the world before anyway. I went to the first bank and they were like, sorry, we don't do transfers to Honduras. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm like, I have another bank I work with, but even little things like that. And then that delayed it. And then the shipping got delayed by a day and whatever. But 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, boom, 1,500 pounds of coffee shows up on our doorstep.
I had faith that everything would work out. When you're in other countries and even our country, things might not just happen the way you want it to or the same day that you want it to happen. But it happens. It happens. So,
absolutely.
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
it happened. It
Yes,
and
it happened.
The proof is in the pudding. Here, I'm really excited. I just roasted this yesterday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Smells so good. Wow, delicious. So smooth.
It is. It's a really, really clean coffee, but it's still got like some really nice citrusy tartness to it that I love, but it's still really sweet and clean as well.
Very clean.
Yeah.
I could probably drink 10 cups in a day and be okay.
This is the kind of coffee, honestly, that, when I meet people that are like, oh, I need, I used to do cream and sugar. I don't have, but I need a little cream. This is the kind of coffee that I say, I'll change your mind on that one.
Right. It's very good.
It's got it all.
I don't feel any acidity.
Yeah. I mean, no unpleasant acidity anyway. A little bit of, a sparkle there, right?
Like
but the unpleasant, like, absolutely.
Have that.
So, but it's really great. You don't need the cream because it's got a nice mouthfeel. It's silky. It's smooth. It's got some body to it. It's not too heavy. It's not like water. It's like right there,
Yeah, I really like it.
So what are some of the things about your family's coffee that make it stand out and make it so special?
Oh, they actually process it with the honey from the coffee.
The honey process, yes.
Can you explain that?
I can explain that. And they were really amazing to send me some of what it looks like kind of mid-process. And so, normally when you see green coffee, you see this really pretty, washed kind of, ready to go beautifulness. I think most people see the final product. Most people have never really even seen green coffee. But this is that honey process that you speak of. And this is the stage where, the coffee cherries have been picked and then laid out to naturally ferment within the cherry. And you can see there's still a couple that actually still have the dried cherry on them. The rest have been, those holes have been cracked off, and it's getting ready for that final rinse to remove the parchment so you can get down to that pretty green bean underneath. And there's a lot of different ways of processing coffee, but what we love about the honey process is it's more natural, and it leaves a lot of those natural characteristics of the coffee fruit itself there. So that's where you're getting that sugary sweetness from. That's where you're getting some of those intense, fruity flavors and citrusy. Thank you.
I feel the citric in it, and I think it's amazing. Like I love their coffee. Every time somebody comes and visits us, please bring us coffee. Go drive 3 hours to go pick up coffee for us.
Absolutely, 3 hours up the most scary, steep, and winding roads with no guardrails. Yeah. Been there. Hope to get to your family's farm one day.
Oh, you guys are always invited.
Thank you.
December, January type months when they start going to the fields and
Right.
collecting all the coffee, the invitation is always open.
Thank you so much. We would love to make that happen, and we're hoping for a big release here and a continued partnership in the future. But for us, this is a huge deal because while we've been buying exciting coffees, all over from all over the world for the last 5 years that we've been roasting, this is our first ever direct to farm relationship. So, cutting out the middleman, right, and making sure that not only are we building a more personal relationship across the globe, but that the money gets to where it needs to go so that it can have the impact at source to continue producing such a wonderful crop year after year after year.
And it did, because of this fair trade that you did with Donai and with Danielle and La Finca Farms. They were able to pay top dollar to the community for the coffee. So a little bit about them, she has like 9 brothers and I don't know how many sisters, to be honest. It's a big family. They've had their coffee farm for about 50 years.
Wow.
So she was able to like pay them like top dollar for their crops, and it impacted them big. So now they're going to be able to plant even more next year.
And I mean, that's what I was just going to ask. So like, I wasn't able to do the container this year. We got in for a whole pallet, but looking forward to next year.
Yeah.
Can we do this again?
Yes, 1000%. We
Excellent.
would love to. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh my gosh, Jesse, thank you so much for putting it out there and for working so hard and so diligently along the way. Thank you for introducing me to your wonderful family in Honduras. And I look forward to many, many years of a continued relationship.
Me too, thanks.
Thank you. So from the Facebook community to the global community, who knew, right?
Who knew?
Only in Portage Park.
Only in Portage Park. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too.